I don't know whose decision it was to put tonight's game between the Canucks and Montreal at 8 o'clock, but whoever's decision that was it's absolutely unconscionable that a game starts that late and that it's a little after 10:30 at night and I'm starting a review. Just you know, because it's funny, even out here on the West Coast, people were complaining yesterday saying, wait, the game starts at 8? Why? And clearly it was because this one started at 5, so we'll have the other one start at 8 because we'll have a double header. And this one should have started at 4. It doesn't matter. There's no fans. It doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, this review should have been up at least an hour ago, is what I'm saying. But some of the scheduling this year just is weird. We'll start things off with Minnesota at home against Vegas, and this was a really good game. It became far more interesting late than it should have been, but Minnesota like to make things interesting, and Vegas is excellent when they're behind. They really are. This is a team that is always dangerous. So Stone was back in the lineup, and it did make a difference. Eventually, it didn't seem to out of the gate. Eriksson Ek out of the gate on an unusual turnover from Shea Theodore. You don't normally see that kind of thing. 19 seconds in, Eriksson Ek says thanks, and it's in the net. But Coghlan, who all of a sudden had a big night, he scores from Waugh at 142. And it was a turnover by the Wild behind the net. And it was his first NHL goal. And my thought was, okay, we've got 2 goals in the first 2 minutes. Final score of this one might be 10-9. No, the scoring would really settle down for quite a while after this. McNabb looked like he ended Rao, just absolutely smoked him. It was an exciting start to the game. Martinez then had a chance. It was stopped. The shots were 4-3 Vegas at 6 minutes. Rao hits the post. Very, very, very prominent out there tonight. Sturm was denied by Fleury. And then Zuccarello had a great chance at 14 minutes. Zuccarello, pretty good game tonight. The Wild get a power play. Their power play sucks. That one did. And their power play tonight came into tonight, I think, at like 6.8%, something ridiculously low. So they go to the second period, still 1-1. Early Vegas power play, that's killed off. There were no shots in the second period in the first 5 minutes. There's 2 goals in the first minute and 42 of the first period. Second period, nothing. Fleury caught a chance from Zuccarello. Kakkonen then stopped a McNabb chance. Things get kind of scrummy at the half. There was more dislike then at the Vegas net. These teams have seen each other 4 times in the last 2 weeks, and I think they're kind of tired of seeing one another. Tuck then had a backhand on a fast break that was stopped as he tries one of those Alex Tuck goals. But only one guy was allowed to score tonight for Vegas, and it wasn't Alex Tuck. Physical, tight checking game, and then things get kind of scrummy at the horn again. So this is a really tight checking game out of what looked like it might be a crazy game to start with. We go to the third, still tied at 1. First minute of the period, the Wild get a power play, and they score on it. It didn't suck. Kaprizov scores from Zuccarello and Bukestad at 118. That was their last power play, so they're 50% for tonight. So if people ask what's the Wild power play like, you just go, it was 50% last night. What's it at on the season? It was 50% last night. So, and I'm saying last night because by the time this posts, for most of the world, it's going to have been last night. These games took place. Again, great scheduling NHL. Lots of icings going on by the Vegas Golden Knights early in that period, which it always makes me nervous because I'm like, oh, they're conserving their energy or something. Three chances by Rao on one shift that were saved then. And then Eriksson Ek, he adds to the lead from Greenway and Foligno at 5:54, so it's 3-1. And the puck was between the pads and it was shot in. And I think Vegas wanted a whistle there. I think they figured Fleury had it. Should have been a whistle. They didn't. There's no challenge on that. And then Soucy scores from Sturm and Rao at 7:41. So Rao's finally awarded an assist here. And it's 4-1. There you go. It's done. That's it. Minnesota wins. But Fleury was taken out at that point and Logan Thompson was put in. And all I could think was, who? What? How? Where? Huh? Who? So, power play for Vegas. That was killed off. Marchessault was denied. We then get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. And Coghlan scores from Martinez and Stevenson at 14 minutes. They pull the goaltender with 2.5 minutes left, and they score 6-on-5. Coughlin finishes the hat trick from Theodore and Stone at 17:50. So a kid that's been fighting to get that goal and working so hard, and suddenly hat trick. Once that first one goes in, he's got the hat trick. And yeah, Theodore and Stone with the assists on that. Then they pull the goalie again with 1:20 left, with 1:03 left. Vegas calls a timeout. It is unsuccessful. Shots in this one, 9-6 in the first in favor of Minnesota, 9-8 Vegas in the second, 14-12 Minnesota in the third. Final shots, 31-27 for Minnesota. It ends up being a lot closer than it probably should have been, but this is how Vegas works. They come back and only lose it by 1. Drop to 16-6-1, and for Minnesota, that's a big win. They go to 15-8-1. They are within shouting distance of first in the division. So yeah, power plays. Vegas goes 0 for 2. Minnesota 1 for 2. Their power play didn't suck tonight. Fleury 25 saves on 29 shots, and Thompson saved both shots. And if that's the only game he plays this year, he has a 1,000 save percentage. And Kakkonen saves 24 out of 27. Good game. Good game overall, really. In all honesty. All right, next up. So this morning, I couldn't have been more wrong. Thus, I'm wearing the Oilers jersey today for the review, because I said this morning, I think Ottawa should win this because it's really hard to beat a team 6 times in a row. No, not really. So it's Murray versus Smith, and Matt Murray's been this unknown. Sometimes he's great, sometimes he's not. First shift chances for the Oilers, and right away I thought, oh, this is one of those games, is it? So Murray denied Puljujarvi. Neal was then denied as well, but the Oilers kept pressing, and it's going to happen. Darnell Nurse scores from Draisaitl and Barrie at 3:52, and then the Oilers just keep pressing. Jujhar Khaira gets one from Shore. Shore forced the timeout or the turnover, and at 5:57 it's 2-0. And I put right here, it's not hard to win 6 in a row, and I underline not because yeah, they're making it look easy. Puljujarvi then almost made it 3-0. Murray denied Patrick Russell. This was game number 56 in the career of Patrick Russell. He is not allowed to score goals. That's a theme that I had going through last season. Patrick Russell's not allowed to score goals, and I used to track his lack of goal scoring, and it's still a thing. Oilers get a power play, and they score on it because, of course, they did. Draisaitl, who must have watched my video talking about the Hart, he gets a goal from Barrie and Smith at 12:08. It was a fantastic goal by Draisaitl. And then McDavid scores from Draisaitl and Nurse at 13:25. The Oilers had 4 goals. The Senators had 3 shots. We go to the second period. The Sens would get a 4th shot before the end of the period, though. So that's the thing. Early Oilers power play. Murray's absolutely under siege. Yeah, they just left him in. You might as well just leave him in. Dzingel tried to fight Patrick Russell, which was kind of funny because he dropped the gloves and Russell didn't, and so Dzingel gets a penalty. It has to be somewhat embarrassing when you drop the gloves to fight with somebody and they just look at you and you realize you're going to the box and now you got to pick up your gloves. Power play for the Oilers. They would get another one shortly after that, and then they'd score on that one. So Draisaitl scores from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and McDavid. McDavid just keeps getting points. Draisaitl keeps getting points at 7:01. So putting them back together on the same line, it's not going to last. McDavid and Draisaitl will end up on separate lines again, but for right now, the nuclear option works really well for Edmonton. And then James Neal scores from Chason at 8:03. So that made it a lot to nothing. White exits the game hurt, is his left leg, and it was an awkward crash into the boards. It's one of those crashes into the boards where you're like, okay, that looks really painful. He couldn't put any weight on his left leg, and it's one of 2 injuries tonight, and neither of them look good for Ottawa. So there was a post for Tkachuk on a break. The Sens get a power play. That was a no, and that was their only power play in the game. Third period, shots are 4-2 for the Sens at 5 minutes. Tkachuk nearly scores at 7 minutes, and then Draisaitl. Draisaitl gets the hat-trick goal from McDavid at 7:34, so Draisaitl gets 12, 13, and 14 on the goals for tonight. Dzingel then got hurt. He crashed into the boards, and it looked like he hurt his right knee. So Dzingel's out, White's out. Not only does Ottawa get embarrassed tonight, but they lose 2 of their top 9 forwards. Yamamoto then had a chance that was saved, and then Dadonov ruins the shutout from Wilson and Riley at 11 minutes and 11 seconds. And then the other noteworthy items in this game, there was a post for Puljujarvi, a post for Haas as well. So the Oilers could have made it worse than it was. Ends up 7-1. They go to 17-11. And the Sens drop to 9-19-1. It's been a rough year for Ottawa. Shots in this one, 16-4, Edmonton in the first. 12-6, Edmonton in the second. And then Ottawa outshoots them 12-8 in the third. Final shots, 36-22 for Edmonton. Power plays, Edmonton 2-4, Ottawa 0-1. Murray, 29 saves on 36 shots. Smith, 21 saves on 22 shots. Now has an 8-2 record and continues to have an excellent save percentage for the Oilers. All right, moving along. Colorado and Arizona. Or as Colorado's going to view this, boy, it almost happened again. Arizona, in 2 games against Colorado, outshot badly. Outchanced badly. They come out of this little mini-series with Colorado with 3 points, and they're going to be very happy about it. So, Saad scores early. From Burakovsky and Taves at 1 minute and 23 seconds. And I mean it like that because the shots were 4-0 for the Avs at around the 2-minute mark. Like it was a lot of shots going at the Arizona net. And Ronta was going to have to get used to that. Coyotes tried to answer. Demers had a chance. Rebound was cleared. But the shots at the halfway mark were 10-3 for the Avs. And Arizona would be stuck on 3 shots for a while. Great period for the Avs and for Ronta. The Avs top line had a chance at around the 19-minute mark. And again, Ronta makes the save. Second period, Coyotes not getting shots. Calvert had a great chance. The shots at that point were 20-3 in the game for Colorado. So again, they're still stuck on 3. O'Connor had a break that went high. The Avs get a power play. Rantanen, McKinnon, denied by Ronta during that. Things get kind of scrummy on an icing. There were no Coyotes shots in more than a period of play. In more than 20 minutes, there were no shots by the Arizona Coyotes. I cannot tell you how happy they are. They come out of tonight with a point. So they get scrummy there, and then Keller has a shot that goes high. Garland disliked a hit from Landeskog. He got up to let him know, gentlemen, sir, I did not appreciate the hit. I was not a fan of said hit. Please refrain from such hits in the future. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. Maybe some F-bombs thrown in. So, power play for the Coyotes, it gets 2 shots, which is almost exactly what they had in the game before that. The Avs then get a power play. Kadri had a shot that missed high. It's killed off. The Coyotes push with 3 minutes left, and they score. They do. They get pressure, and they score. Schmaltz from Pitlick and Chychrun at 18:05, and that was it. The Coyotes were looking to steal it. The rest of that period, they had some opportunities. You could tell, hey, we have a chance to steal it. Third period, Ronta knocked down, and Nash wanted a call. Tyson Nash really wanted a call on that one. You know what? He had a point in that Ronta was in the blue paint, and if you knock down a goalie in the blue paint, you probably get a goalie interference penalty. I think what it was, I think that at some stages a referee will look at how many penalties he's given one team, and he might not want to give them another one. And I think that might have been part of it, or maybe it's the third period and it's a close game. There's a couple of things that can come into that. So you could look at this from an Arizona point of view and say, well, wait, we only had a couple. They had 5. You could look at it that way too, and I'm sure Nash looks at it that way. Scrambly start. No shot for the Avs top line on a chance they had early in that period. The Coyotes have to watch turnovers. There were some juicy turnovers, and they were very fortunate. Ronta bailed them out. Solid penalty kill by the Coyotes, but the shots after that power play, 37-9 in favor of the Avs. Remember, the score's 1-1 at this point. OEL had a chance that was stopped. Broussard takes a penalty. Avs go back to the power play. I think that was their 5th. McKinnon was denied. The penalties killed off. And then with 5:39 left, no, this is the 5th penalty here. McKinnon draws a penalty. So McKinnon sends the Avs back to the power play. Ronta, the reason this thing's 1-1. And then Schmaltz had a break late that was saved. And if Grubauer had allowed that, Coyotes win it in regulation. We go to overtime. Kadri misses the net wide. The Avs controlled the puck basically the whole overtime. It was fantastic to watch. And Landeskog finishes it from Girard at 4:22. So just when you're thinking, this is probably going to go to a shootout, it doesn't. Shots in this one, 18-3, Colorado in the first, 13-6, Colorado in the second, 13-5, Colorado in the third, and 2-0 Colorado in the overtime. Final shots, 46-14 in favor of Colorado. Power plays, 0 for 2 for Arizona, 0 for 5 for Colorado. Ronta, 44 saves on 46 shots. Grubauer, 13 saves on 14 shots. Arizona drops to 12-10-4. And Colorado goes to 14-8-2. Very, very important that they get the 2 points tonight, and they did. So, yeah, big game there. Next up. So, LA and Anaheim. Anaheim had won the first 2 meetings. Tonight, it was not happening. And the interesting thing is, before the game starts, and after I did the video I did this afternoon, Cal Peterson's added to the COVID protocol list. And we don't know, that doesn't mean he tested positive. It might mean other reasons he has to isolate. But he's on the list. So they had Grosnick as the starter and Villalta as the backup. They did not have a goaltender who had played a game for the Kings dressed for tonight's game. And that was the first that had happened. Where they had 2 goaltenders dressed for the game. Neither of them had ever played a game for the Kings. So yeah, early chances for the Kings. They get a power play. And Kempe scores on the power play. Stays red hot from Doughty and Kopitar at 3:46. And coming into tonight, the Kings were 7-1 when they score first. Very important to them to get the first goal. Shots were 5-2 LA at 5 minutes, and Grosnick was good. This is his first start in 6 years for Grosnick. And yeah, he looked pretty good. Power play for the Ducks, that's killed off. The Kings go back to the power play. Then there was another power play for Anaheim. There was a last-minute chance for LA. This game, it felt like, had a lot of power plays all in a row. Second period. Early chances for the Ducks. The Kings then get a power play. And there seemed to be a lot of them. And then they had a brief 5-on-3. But all of that is killed off. Post then for Brown. Oh, no. They didn't kill it off. That's right. They killed the 5-on-3. And then on that second power play, Kopitar from Doughty and Roy at 5 minutes and 20 seconds. So that made it 2-0. Both of them power play goals. But 19 seconds later, Sam Steele doesn't tie it. He makes it 2-1 from Delorier and Shattenkirk. So at 5:39, it's a 2-1 game. I might be a little bit tired. So Amadio then had a shot that was caught by Gibson. The Ducks pressure. They draw a power play. It is unsuccessful. Before the period's out, Kempe. He scores from Moore and Lizotte at 17:55. Great pass by Moore. And he knows the hot stick belongs to Kempe. Kempe gets the goal. And then there was a near miss by Athanasiou. It went through Gibson and it went wide of the post. And he watched it on the replay and you could tell he was like, how does that not go in? It was close. Athanasiou had another good game tonight. Third period. And Athanasiou gets his goal. He scores at 1:27 from Carter and Velarde. So he makes up for the near miss by getting one into the net. That made it 4-1. And at that point, yeah, I put the records up. I'm like, the Ducks aren't scoring 3 in the third period. It's remarkable that the Ducks score 5 goals in a game twice in a row, and it looks like the offense is together. And tonight, we're back where we started, it seems. It does take a while, but we're going to get to another team that's back where they started too before this night's review's out. Ducks had a 2-on-1. Grosnick saves. Lettieri then had a chance for the Ducks. That was stopped as well. Power play for the Ducks. Zegras really wants that first goal, and goaltenders in the NHL are being really mean and not letting him have it. And I think they should just let him have his first goal. Let him have that first, especially, it's 4-1. What does it hurt to make it 4-2? It's not like a 3-goal lead is dangerous in hockey. So, Athanasiou then had another good chance, and then Iafallo gets credited with the goal at 13:57, but Hakanpää, he shoots it in his own net. I don't think he intended to do it, but Iafallo says thanks and makes it 5-1. And that's your final score. The Kings go to 11-8-6. The Ducks drop to 8-13-6. So no run for the Ducks coming. Shots 16-8 LA in the first, 11-9 Anaheim in the second, 15-12 Anaheim in the third. Final shots 37-34 for LA. Power plays LA 2 for 4, Anaheim 0 for 4, and that's a big part of your story. Grosnick, 33 saves on 34 shots. His first victory in, I think they said 7 years. His first game since November of 2014. So it's been a long time since he was in an NHL net. and you wouldn't know it by watching tonight. And Gibson saved 33 out of 38. His save percentage continues to tumble. And I don't know what it is with Gibson, but here we are. And now I have to change boards. And now we come to the game that we all waited so long to watch. Now, if you're a Montreal fan and you stayed up, especially if you don't have to work in the morning, this became a really good game for you. For anybody else, I don't know. I don't know how much people may or may not have enjoyed it. If you don't like the Canucks, you might have really enjoyed this game. I hope the Canucks didn't. So here's the problem. The Canucks came into tonight with 3 wins in a row. And I don't want to diminish that. But they are behind all the other teams in their division. And since it's all divisional hockey, the road to them getting back into this is really, really tough. Tonight they fell into all of the bad habits. So now Montreal's 5-0-2 against Montreal, and Vancouver's 1-14 when they allow the first goal. This is a major problem. I know they had comebacks against Toronto and in the last game against Montreal, but this is something they need to be able to do. They need to be able to come back, and this game, a lot of alarming trends come back for them. Demko is tested early. A good start for the Habs. Gallagher tip just misses. The Canucks press, the Canucks passes were being intercepted. Again, it's late, right? Canucks passes are being intercepted. So this is part and parcel of a big problem they had tonight was the turnovers. The passes that either they're not thinking it through or Montreal's just anticipating them and jumping in there. But either way, Montreal was taking everything. Shots were 6-0 for Montreal at 6 minutes. And this is all legit. Like, it's not like the Canucks were getting a bunch of chances that were just missing the net. There was a lot of shot blocking going on for Montreal. Things get kind of scrummy. The Canucks get a power play. They had one shot after that power play was over. And I thought that was generous giving them that shot. I don't know that should have counted as a shot. If that was the one that went off the post that looked like they credited for having hit Price's shoulder. Power play didn't set up. It just didn't. And this is the problem with tonight. Edler then takes a penalty. Habs go to the power play. The Habs press at the half. Demko was saving Demko again tonight. Just he did his best, but at some point it all falls apart. Dangerous power play was killed off. It had 4 shots, and the shots were 12-2 Montreal 12 minutes in, so they were feeling it. And then Kotkaniemi scores from Toffoli and Gallagher at 15:34. And then they get a late power play. So they're up 1-0. They get another power play. We're going to the second period. The second period had a better start for the Canucks. However, the puck goes the other way and it ends up in their net. Corey Perry scores from Byron and Evans at 2:09, and it was a beautiful 2-on-1 that led to the goal. Again, no chance for Demko on that. Canucks get a power play. It does score. And it's Brock Besser, who continues to have a very good season, from Miller and Hughes at 4:54. And we can all have the debate about JT Miller and whether or not it's been better with him at center and how it's going. Tonight, I didn't think he had a great night. Just saying. The Habs pressed at 7 minutes. There was a Miller turnover, and that led to a power play where he turned over the puck. I think it was McKellish that had broken his stick, and McKellish was going off to get another stick, so they were short. So he had to commit a penalty in order to make sure they didn't have another goal against. The Habs get another power play after that. That was number 4. Sherratt had a fight with Miller in the first period. Sherratt hurt his hand during that fight. Did not return to the game. Power play goal then for Weber from Drouet and Anderson at 14 minutes and 11 seconds. And after making it 3-1, they immediately set about trying to make it 4-1. It was ugly. More and more pressure by the Habs with 2.5 minutes left. They were just relentless. So a period that it started out pretty good for Vancouver. By the end of it, Montreal was right back in control. Third period, Sutter didn't appear on the bench to start the third, but he did come back. He came back relatively early in the third. Price was sharp early in this. Demko denies Danault. Danault would take that personally. Armia was stopped. The Canucks yelled for a call on that. They felt that there was a penalty that should have been called. That doesn't matter. Petrie then scored from Kotkaniemi and Toffoli at 6:36. So Tyler Toffoli didn't get a goal tonight, but he did get a couple of assists. And Petrie, that's his 10th goal of the year. The Canucks then get a power play. Toffoli with a shorthanded break. He was denied. And here's where you can tell that Shorthouse, the announcer for the Canucks, it's starting to wear on him. Because when Toffoli had the shorthanded break, you could hear the kind of tone of voice like, here we go again. It's going in, isn't it? And then mild surprise when it was actually not a goal. But yeah, I think we all kind of expected it. Shorthanded break to Foley. Montreal against Vancouver. Shorthanded goals, kind of the way that works. Then there was a too many men call on the Canucks. They had 3 defensemen on the ice. You're supposed to have 2. They had 6 players on the ice. You're supposed to have 5. So the Habs with their 5th power play, they don't score on it, but then Philippe Danault finally gets that first goal of the year. I knew he was due. He gets a goal from Edmondson and Armia at 13:49, and it was just the Canucks couldn't clear it out. It was pressure, 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 and eventually the puck's going to go in the net. And then the Habs with more pressure after that goal, because this was not the night for the Vancouver Canucks. They win at 5-1. Montreal goes to 12-6-7. Vancouver drops to 12-16-2. So for Vancouver, whether you're looking at points percentage, however you look at this, the Canucks are really behind. And again, they need a really long rally to get this going, and they need to win some games in regulation. It's just not happening for them right now. So Montreal comes out of Vancouver with 3 points out of 4. They outshoot them in this game, 16-4 in the first. Vancouver actually outshoots them 13-12 in the second. Shots in the third, 17-7 Montreal. Final shots, 45-24 for the Habs. Power plays, Montreal 1 for 5, Vancouver 1 for 3. Carey Price, another good game for him. This is one of those under-the-radar kind of things. Price is heating up, 23 saves on 24 shots. Demko, 40 saves on 45 shots. Very good game for Demko. Really poor game from the Vancouver Canucks. They have to bounce back because on Saturday they're going to be playing again. So we'll see. And then, of course, tonight is the 1-year anniversary of Rudy Gobert. So happy Gobert-iversary of when he tested positive, and all of a sudden the whole sports world went, oh, right. And we would see the NHL get shut down. So I'll do a video on the anniversary of that, when the anniversary of that reaches us in a couple of days. A year ago tonight, I was at my last Canucks game. I had no idea that was going to be the last Canucks game that had fans in attendance for at least a calendar year. And we had beautiful seats. We watched them win over the New York Islanders, and it was a great game. And then when I came home and the Gobert thing was all anybody was talking about, and I remember at that arena too, I remember feeling kind of like there could be somebody here with it. And there's the possibility, like I know my wife and I were both already carrying hand sanitizer, and we were discussing masks and this kind of stuff, and that was a year ago today. So it's been a full year, and yeah, we'll get into how things have really changed over the last year. But hey, we've got hockey, and that's what's important. Well, for this channel, it's important. For some of us, just mentally, having hockey back's been a huge difference maker. I know it's been a huge difference maker for me. Although the schedule tonight, no. Do not have games starting at 8 o'clock at night Pacific. That's 11 o'clock Eastern. I don't get it. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. And tomorrow's games, there's 10 of them, and they're all early. So the review will be up at least, I'll say 2.5 hours earlier than this one, even though there's more hockey. Because schedules. All right, thanks again for all your support. I will talk to you guys again soon.